Soundstripe.
I can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense to me, I can make nice or make history. I got that dog in me, yeah, turn me up. Big energy, got the crowd going nuts. I got that dog in me, yeah, any up. I take on anyone, I don't need a one-on-one. I got that dog in me, yeah, I'm talking all bite, no bark. I could rip your squad apart. I got that dog in me, so what's up? Yeah, so what's up? I told her move over. Enough of that mediocre. I've been the man just cruising around in the stroller. I got ice in my veins like a cut in Minnesota. Why not?
What's up, everybody? And that's right, happy birthday to these celebrities that have their big day today, November 2nd. Friends star David Schwimmer turns 57 years old. Rapper Nelly turns 49. Adam Sandler's daughter, Sunny Sandler, is 15. NFL star from the Las Vegas Raiders, Jimmy G, is 32. R&B singer Stevie J turns 52. Daytime talk show host Karamo Brown is 43. NFL QB from the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, is 25. And rapper Des Door is 25. If today is your birthday, have an amazing day full of cake, gifts, and most importantly, time with your family. Also, rest in peace to Matthew Perry, one of my favorite shows of all time, Friends. He was an amazing character as Chandler Bing, but he also graced the big screen as well in movies such as Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek, The Whole 10 and 9 Yards with Bruce Willis, and the movie 17 again. He was 54 when he passed away. Also, rest in peace to the General Bobby Knight, the legendary coach of the Indiana Hoosiers from 1971 to 2000. Then Texas Tech Red Raiders from 2001 to 2008. He also coached the Army Black Knights from 1965 to 1971. He had a record of 902 wins, 371 losses, and won 3 national championships. His first in 1976 when he had a record of 32-0. 1981 and 1987 he also won them. He also won 11 Big Ten championships, and he went to the Final Four 5 times. So rest in peace, Coach Knight. Welcome to the show. This is the first official one. Last week we did, of course, the pilot episode, which went well, and now we are here for episode number 1, technically, of the show. This is, of course, the Robbie.G Show Sports Podcast, right here live on Spreaker and also on anywhere that you find your podcast. We got a bunch of topics to bring up today, so let's get into the first one. What happened to the San Francisco 49ers? San Francisco 49ers were undefeated. They had 0 losses, and then they lose a couple in a row. It's really terrible. Like, I just don't understand where they fell off. I just don't understand how a team can start off so well, and then they lost to the Browns, the Vikings, and now the Bengals. 3 losses in a row. They were right there with the Philadelphia Eagles, who lost 1 game the same week that they lost their first one, and then have won since. So I just don't understand it. It's crazy. But we'll see what happens. I mean, honestly, the teams that start at the top of the NFL are not always the teams that end with that kind of good record. I mean, you can have a team go and win their first 7 games, and then just go on a 6 or 7 game losing streak. Happens all the time in football. So we'll see what happens at the end of the year. Don't count out teams like the Chicago Bears and all that, who still have a chance. I mean, if you're watching these other teams fail, it can happen. Now let's move on to... this is one of my favorite topics that I want to talk about really quick. Zach LaVine scoring 51 points, but the Bulls still lost their game. That is terrible. Look, you can say what you want about Zach LaVine not being a defender and not being the greatest defender in the world, but if you put up 51 points and your team still loses, you got to wonder where everybody else was in that game. That was a terrible loss. I mean, and the Bulls really haven't showed me much this year so far. I mean, they lost last night to the Dallas Mavericks 114-105. Zach LaVine had 22 points in that game. But then a win the night before that, a couple nights before that, they beat the Pacers 112-105. And Zach LaVine was pretty much non-existent in that game. In fact, let's see, Vukovic had 24. Zach LaVine finished with 23, but ended up with only like 8 points in the first half. And I noticed DeMar DeRozan did the same thing yesterday when Zach was having a good game. They can never have a good game together at the same time. It's always one guy straggles like really low. It's like, you guys got to get together. When Jordan and Pippen were in the league playing for the Chicago Bulls, you had Jordan with like in the 30s, and you had Pippen in the 20s. That is how you play a game together. You need one high scorer and one guy who's a mid-level scorer. And that's exactly what the Chicago Bulls did back then. The Bulls haven't showed me anything yet this season that I feel like they could even make the play-in tournament. Even though right now they're sitting at a record, let's see, they're sitting at 2-2, which, I mean, or 2-3, not horrible. They got 2 wins and 3 losses, not the greatest, but not the worst in the league right now. If you look at the standings in the East, the Bulls would be at number 9 right now. And right now, the Pistons are 2-3, the Magic are 2-2, the Nets are 2-2, the Bucks are 2-2, the Pacers are 2-2. So the Bulls are right there in the division with the Cavaliers, the Pistons. So yeah, they have every shot at actually winning and doing something. They have the in-season tournament, which I don't know if I'm a fan of that. It's a very weird concept to me, and I know it works in some other leagues, but if you do win this cup, you don't get anything. The players get like a bonus for winning it, but I mean, it just doesn't seem like it really serves much of a purpose. Like, if you win the cup for it, the tournament cup, what are you really getting? You're not really getting anything. So they're not getting a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. They're not getting anything that would be a substance to say, hey, I'm excited. The only thing I am excited is I saw what the court's going to look like for the Bulls, and it's pretty badass. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out right now. You know, go and look it up on the internet. It's a really cool red court. It looks really nice, so it's going to be cool for that part of it. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. All right, let's go into my NFL Week 9 predictions. Week 8 for me wasn't the greatest. I went 10-6. So far, I'm 73-48 for a win percentage of 84.5%. So that's not horrible. Let's see if I could do better starting tonight. All right, so starting tonight, we got the Titans and the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. I'm taking the Titans in that one. Let's see. Sunday, an 8:30 a.m. game from Germany. Crazy, crazy, crazy. It's going to be the Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the Chiefs winning that one. Sunday, the noon games, we got the Vikings and the Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons in that one. I think with the injury that we have to Kirk Cousins, I think that the Vikings are pretty much a wrap for the season. I think it's really the Lions' division now to win or lose, with Kirk Cousins being out. Let's see. I've got the Cardinals and the Browns. I'm taking the Browns in that one. Rams versus Packers. Packers are on a down skid. I think they're going to keep that down skid going, and the Rams are going to beat them. The Washington Commanders and the Patriots. I've got the Commanders taking that one. Let's see. The Bears and the Saints. As much as I'd love the Bears to win this game, I really believe the Saints are going to win. I took the Bears against in the last game, and they lost it. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to take the Saints in this one, as much as it pains me to do that. Let's see. The Seahawks and the Ravens. I got the Seahawks winning that one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Houston Texans. I've got the Texans with that one. The 3 o'clock games, the Colts and the Panthers. Panthers still just going to be at the one win. They're going to lose to the Colts. I think that was a fluke win. They're going to win maybe one more this season, and they'll win 2 for the whole year. So that's my prediction for the Panthers. But I'm not sure which game that's going to be yet. It's definitely not going to be against the Bears. I think the Bears beat them next week on Thursday Night Football. I think that's when Justin Fields makes his triumphant return. So I got the Colts in that one. The Giants and the Raiders. I'm going to take the Raiders in that one. I don't think the Giants are going to win another game this season. I think they're done too. Cowboys and Eagles. I've got the Eagles in that one. Obviously, Eagles, best team right now in the NFL, and I think they're going to keep winning. And then Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. I got the Bills over the Bengals in that one. I think Josh Allen on Sunday night is going to come out and have a good game for them and win. And then Monday Night Football, kind of a lackluster game, I think, in my opinion. It's the Chargers and the Jets. Not the greatest game. I'm surprised the NFL picked such a crappy game to have. But I say the Chargers are going to beat the Jets. They're going to keep on their winning ways, and the Jets are going to lose. So that's my predictions for this week. We're going to see what I do in that game. Let's see if I win or lose it. 10-6 last week, not horrible, not great, but in the middle. So I'll take it. 73-48 for the entire year from week 1 to now. I'll take that too. All right, so let's go into our next topic. Is Fields a bust? And if he is, wouldn't Jordan Love be too? And let's go into this one really quick for all you Bears and Packers fans out there. A lot of people call Justin Fields a bust. Obviously, he has 32 fumbles in 35 games, which is a pretty decent amount of fumbles. He has struggled in certain areas and certain aspects. Justin Fields, I'm going to go more into him in my next topic of him and Bajent. But I would say if you look at Jordan Love this year, his stats this year, okay, so far he has 1,492 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions with a QB rating of 78.2. That's Jordan Love's stats. And he has played in every single game this year. Now, if you go over to Justin Fields' stats, remember, he's already been out 2 games. This will be his 3rd game that he missed. In the games that he's played this year, he has 1,201 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions with a 91.6 QB rating. So how exactly can Packer fans out there say that Justin Fields is a bust, but Jordan Love so far isn't? And yes, Justin Fields has been in the league for 3 years. Okay, his stats, not the greatest. His stats in 3 seasons are 5,313 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 27 picks, with a QB rating of 82.3. Is that great? No. Is that terrible? No. And I'll tell you why. His first year as a rookie, he really didn't play a lot. And he kind of got thrown in with an injury. He didn't get to sit out like Jordan Love pretty much did his entire beginning of his career. Because if you really go and look at Jordan Love right now, and go look at his stats with me, if you look at his rookie year in 2021, the same year that Justin Fields came in, he only had 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks, with a 68.7 QB rating. Okay, that was his first year. Do you know why? Because his quarterback was Aaron Rodgers. Who exactly did Justin Fields have in his rookie year? Does anybody remember? Was it Glennon? I'm pretty sure it was Glennon in his rookie year. So, I mean, honestly, like, how could you even talk about a rookie year? That wasn't even technically his rookie year. Okay, I say 2022 was the year that Justin Fields had a better season. So let's look at Jordan Love's second year in 2022. He had 195 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks, with a 112 QB rating. How do you even give a QB rating? That was probably one game he played, 195 yards and 1 touchdown. Aaron Rodgers very rarely missed a game. That game was probably the last game of the season when they already clinched the division and the playoffs, and they didn't need him to play, so they brought in Jordan Love. Because honestly, that's like one game of stats. So Justin Fields, now, if you look at his stats for his second year in the league, his stats second year was 2,242 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 11 picks, and an 85.2 QB rating in 2022. So he went up, and that's also the year that he rushed for like 1,200 yards. So, I mean, if you really look at Justin Fields' second year, he really did have a better year than what Jordan Love most likely is going to have this year. Because you got to look at the rushing yards, too. You can't just look at the passing yards. Because Justin Fields is a mobile quarterback. So my take is, yes, Jordan Love will be a bust in Green Bay. He is not going to be the guy of the future for the Green Bay Packers. And if he is, he's having a really crappy start to that career. Because his numbers are abysmal right now. And that's why they're sitting at 2 wins. I have a boss that I work with at my job that's a Green Bay Packer fan. And he said that the Packers are terrible right now. He was boasting when they won the first game of the season against the Bears. Now he's pretty quiet. Because right now they have 2 wins. So since that first game against the Bears, they've only won 1 more game. And that's it. And right now, the Bears and the Packers have the same amount of wins on the season. 2. So you can't say anything. That is the Lions' division to run away with. If the Lions don't keep winning and just run away with that division, it's going to be sad. Because the state of the NFC North right now is horrible. You've got the Detroit Lions at the top. You got the Vikings in second place, but they just lost Kirk Cousins, so that's a wrap. Unless they can pull out miracles. You've got the Packers and the Bears at third and fourth, but like pretty much tied. The only reason that the Packers are above the Bears right now is because of the tiebreaker, because they beat us in that one game. That's it. So yeah, the Packers are going to be at the bottom of the division. I think the Bears, in fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think the Bears are going to have a better record than the Packers by the end of the year. Even with Bagent and Fields in there, they're going to do that. Speaking of that, let's segue into that. Fields or Bagent, who should finish out the season? If you've been watching the Bears the last few weeks, you've seen a little bit of a spark, at least in the first game against the Raiders. Bagent wasn't great, but he wasn't horrible in that first game. He went out there and he did, lead the team to the win. They beat the Raiders. His stats were not phenomenal in that game. He only had 162 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. That was the big number right there, was the 0 interceptions. He did a lot better in that game because he was really, the run game was what was really sparking it. The run game is something that they didn't go to with the Chargers as much, and I was kind of disappointed with that. You have a quarterback who runs a better offense when they're running, and then he can just hit some certain passes, which is what they were doing with him. I was very excited for that. I was really, really hoping that the Chargers game would be the same as the game against the Raiders. But obviously, he did do a little better when it came to the 232 yards that he threw for. That was obviously a lot better than what we were hoping for. I wanted him to get about 250 to 300 yards in that game. But the turnovers were terrible. Now, I'm going to put the first turnover on Bagent. That was a scratch your head, what was he doing type interception. But the second one, I'm going to put that more on Mooney. Mooney should have had that. That was right in the numbers. That was exactly where it should have been. That is where every quarterback looks to throw the ball. Mooney let the ball carry him off his body, and instead of kind of knocking it to the ground, it bounced off of him and went into the arms of the corner that was right next to him. So I would not blame Bagent for that one. But here's my take. Bagent is starting one more game against the Saints. He's either going to win or lose this game. Okay, he's either going to lose really bad or they're going to win in a shootout type game with the Saints. I would like to see Bagent get a 300-yard game. I'd like to see no turnovers in this one after those two last week. And then I'd like to see him throw about 3 touchdowns. But win or lose, Fields has to come back against Carolina for 2 reasons. Number one, he deserves that shot. He deserves to be able to come back and reclaim his spot. He didn't give up his spot because he was bad. He gave up his spot because he got injured. He is the starter until further notice. Okay, and so far Bagent hasn't done anything spectacular to show the Bears why he should be the new starter for this team, unless Fields comes in and just throws a complete 0 game and just has a bad, return. And the second reason I bring Fields in is because, number 2, it's a short week. You don't want Bagent to go from New Orleans, win or lose, right into Carolina if you don't have to. Fields is more than capable of beating the Carolina Panthers. If he cannot beat the Panthers and he does not have a superstar game like he did against the Washington Commanders on my birthday, thank you Fields for winning that game for me. If he does not have a Commanders type game or better against the Panthers and we lose to them, then I am on the train that's saying might as well shut down Fields for the rest of the year and go with Bagent. A lot of people are going to say, why would you do that? Because Fields should not struggle against a team that has 1 win and looks bad. And you need them to lose because you want their number 1 draft pick. Because right now, as it stands, I don't think the Bears are going to lose out every single last game they have. So we will not be, I don't think, a top 5 draft team with our draft pick. I think we'll be somewhere in the top 10. We're probably going to hover somewhere around 7 or 8, to be honest. Because right now, I'll look at the standings in the NFC, or the NFL in general. So we'll see how many teams are in the same area as us right now. Because that's the big thing. Alright, so let's see. In the AFC East, you got the Patriots sitting down at 2-6. You've got, in the AFC West, you've got the Raiders, the Chargers. Chargers are at 3-4, Raiders at 3-5, Broncos at 3-5. And the AFC North, you've got, that's a pretty decent one, 6-2 for the Ravens, and then the Steelers, Browns, and Bengals are all 4-3. In the AFC South, you got the Jags at 6-2, and then you got the Texans, the Titans at 3-4, the Colts at 3-5. So you've got any team right now that's sitting at 3 wins or less could be fighting for that number 1 pick by the end of the year. So you got the Texans, the Titans, and the Colts. You've got, I'm only going for 3 wins or less right now, but the 4-win teams could be sitting there too. You've got the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos, and then you've got the Patriots. So that's 7 alone in the AFC. In the NFC, you got the Eagles at 7-1, the Cowboys at 5-2, you got the Commanders at 3-5, and the Giants at 2-6. That's in the NFC East. In the NFC West, you got the 5-2 Seahawks, the 5-3 49ers. You've got the Rams right now at 3-5, and the Cardinals at 1-7. In the NFC North, you got the Lions sitting at top at 6-2. You got the Vikings, who are going to probably skid off now at 4-4, and then you've got the Packers at 2-5 and the Bears at 2-6 because of the bye week. And then in the NFC South, this is the one that's always bad. You've got the Falcons at 4-4, Saints at 4-4, the Buccaneers at 3-4, and the Panthers at 1-6. So right now in the NFC, you got the Panthers, the Bears, the Packers. You've got the Cardinals, the Rams, and then you've got the Commanders and Giants. I'll throw the Vikings in there at 4-4 because I think they're going to skid off now with Kirk Cousins. So that's 8 and then 7. So that's 15 teams right now that could really be fighting for that number one spot. But right now, I think the number one spot is going to go to the Panthers, and I think the number 2 spot's going to the Cardinals. I think, and the Giants are 2-6, so I'd say they're going to get the 3rd spot. So the Bears will most likely not be in the top 3. And I think the Packers skid off 2 and they get somewhere in the top 5 also. So, yeah, the Bears are not going to be fighting for a number 1 and number 2 pick this year. I think that right now the Bears will get somewhere in the top 10, probably 7 to 10. And, of course, I think the Panthers are going to be the worst team in the league this year. And barring a couple of wins now, but I don't think they're going to get a couple of wins. But yeah, I would stay with Justin Fields. I think Fields gives you the best chance to win games after Carolina. And at this point, if you do beat the Saints, I believe that we beat the Panthers, so that's 2 wins in a row. That puts us at 4 wins on the season. I think we can start moving up from there. I think the wild card is going to be wide open. We're not even going to discuss the wild card right now because we still got a lot of time until then. But I think that by week 13, you're going to see where these teams are standing because we're only going into week 9 right now. But I think a lot of teams by week 13, you're going to see where they're sitting. And that's why if you play the Madden video game, you can't see the playoff stuff until week 13 because that's when you really get a picture of the playoffs and what it's going to possibly look like and what teams are still in the hunt and which teams are fighting. So we'll see where the Bears are in week 13. These next 2 wins are big. I think Bagent needs to go in and have a superstar game, and he needs to win this game so he goes 2-1 on his career. And then I think Fields needs to come back Thursday night next week against the Panthers and win that game. They have to. This is a must. This is a must for the Bears. First of all, I do not want to see the Bears last place to the Packers with them being this bad. I want to see the Packers sitting in last. I would love to see the Bears make a run for second place because at least then we have somewhere to go. And what's with the Bears firing their running back coach? Why is Getsy still here? Why is Eberflus still here? But the coach that nobody even knows is fired. And the run game isn't even that big of a deal. So I'm guessing that this is like something that he did wrong to get fired. Because it isn't what his running backs are doing right now. Because they're actually playing well. So it has to be that. I think that Fields needs to go, though. They need to get him in there against Carolina. I agree with sitting him out in this game. You don't want him coming back for back-to-back games on a Sunday and a Thursday, just getting back from a bad thumb, dislocated thumb. So, yeah, I would definitely sit him out this game, but he needs to come back for the next game. It's a must. All right, last topic that I'm going to talk about before the show is done for the week. WWE Crown Jewel predictions. That's right, this week, Saturday actually. You'd have to get up early for this one. This is not a nighttime pay-per-view. This premium live event is going to be at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Central, and if you're on the West Coast, you're getting up and watching it at 10 a.m. in the morning. Pre-show at 9 a.m. Oh, that's going to be an early one because it is from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and is Crown Jewel. Here's my predictions for what's going to happen. I also did this on TikTok. I'll give you all the guys the info for that right after all this. So on the kickoff show, we got Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. Who do I feel is going to win this one? I feel it's going to be Sami Zayn. I don't think either guy really needs a win or loss on this one. I think it's just a filler match, obviously, for the pre-show. So, yeah, I think they just want to throw Sami in there because he was very popular the last time he went there. And so I think that because of that, they wanted to keep that going, so they put him there. They just didn't have a major match for him. So they're like, oh, let's just throw you against JD McDonough. So I think Sami Zayn wins that one. On the main card, we got Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest. Like I said on my TikTok, as of now, this is not for the Money in the Bank briefcase, and I don't think it will be. Cody Rhodes' story will not end with him beating Roman with the Money in the Bank briefcase. If he is going to beat Roman Reigns and win the WWE title, he's going to do it on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. So I believe that his story ends at WrestleMania where he wins it. I'll go into those predictions now and then obviously closer to the Royal Rumble. Let's see. Rey Mysterio, the champion, versus Logan Paul for the United States title. This is where Logan needs to win, and I'll tell you why. Logan Paul eventually is going to have to win a title. And why not the U.S. title? People did not want him to beat Roman Reigns and win the Universal title, and he didn't, which was good. They threw him in there, big match. He did well. He took Roman to the limit, and he almost beat him a few times, but he didn't. And that's good. He needs a smaller title. Not the Intercontinental title even. The U.S. title. What a way for Logan Paul to bring in more business for WWE also. Because you know his fans are going to be watching it. They probably ordered Peacock already, hoping that he wins the title. So yeah, he's going to bring in a lot of money for the WWE if he's a U.S. champion. Imagine him going to all his brother's events and everywhere with the U.S. title on. It's going to be like Bad Bunny when he was the 24/7 champion and he wore it on SNL when he did his performance and stuff. It's going to get national exposure and more fans will come and watch WWE. So for all you crazy fans that are like, oh, I'll never watch WWE again, when you stop watching, 5 Logan Paul fans will start watching. That's just how it's going to go. So they won't miss you. You won't be missed at all. Let's see. Io Sky versus Bianca, putting her women's title on the line. That's going to be Io Sky. I honestly don't think either of the women's titles are going to change hands at this event. Io Sky, I think, will end up losing to either Bayley or Dakota Kai in either a one-on-one match or a triple threat match between the 3 Damage Control members. So that would be kind of cool. Let's see. We've got John Cena and Solo Sikoa. I think they're building Cena up to win this match. I think that Solo don't need it. He just needs to look strong and just beat the crap out of Cena and do his spike a couple times on Cena. But then Cena gets up and you can't see me and does the AA and then just like wins the match. So I didn't think this is just a filler match and they wanted to get Cena involved because he didn't get to do a lot of these Saudi Arabia events because he was doing movies. So I think this is just for the Saudis to be like, oh yeah, you know, John Cena came to us. And I think they're excited for that. So I think John Cena wins. Solo looks strong, but yeah, John Cena at the end wins it. Women's World Title. Rhea Ripley is the champion versus Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Raquel, and Zoe Stark. This, I think you just threw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women in a match because they had nothing else to do with that many women. I think they wanted to highlight as many women as they could at this pay-per-view, and that's why they did this. I think this could have been cool as a triple threat between Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, and Rhea Ripley. I don't think Raquel was needed or Zoe, but Rhea Ripley is going to walk out with the title. She's not losing it right now, especially with Judgment Day holding on to the titles they are right now. So Rhea Ripley with the win there. Then you got Seth Rollins, the champion, versus Drew McIntyre for the World Championship. That's going to be Seth. And Seth is going to win, but I predict Damian Priest cashes in his Money in the Bank and wins it. I think that they beat down Seth with Drew. I think Drew gets pissed off that he lost, and he beats down him, and I think Judgment Day comes down to help him. I think this is where you see Drew McIntyre with a heel turn, and then boom, Damian Priest gets the title. The main event, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the WWE Undisputed Champion of the world versus LA Knight. I think this is the biggest match of the night. I think this is going to get the biggest pop of the night. I think LA Knight, you're going to hear a lot of Saudi Arabia people yelling, yeah, with LA Knight. And I think LA Knight comes very close to winning this. But he's not going to. Roman's not losing the title. And I'll tell you what my prediction is for the Royal Rumble. You're not going to see Roman Reigns until Royal Rumble. So far, he is not on the card for the Survivor Series in Chicago. And he's also not on the card for anything in December. I think he comes back in January. Obviously, he's going to defend his title against somebody at the Royal Rumble. I don't know who they're going to throw in there. I think it should just randomly be just somebody who's a little bit like somebody that could face him, but at the same time, somebody that you know isn't going to beat him. Because Roman and Cody will be facing each other. Cody will not win the Royal Rumble this year. LA Knight is going to win the Rumble. And he is going to challenge whoever the champion is at WrestleMania. The only thing is that usually whoever wins the Royal Rumble main events WrestleMania. Roman is going to main event one of the nights, if not both of the nights. Okay, I can see Roman and The Rock in night 2. But night 1 will be Roman and whoever wins the Royal Rumble match. So I'm going to take back my prediction. I think Cody Rhodes wins his second Rumble in a row, just like Stone Cold did, and goes on to WrestleMania. Now, who's going to challenge Seth, Drew, or Damian, or whoever the champion is at WrestleMania for the world title? It's going to be LA Knight. He's going to go into Elimination Chamber in Canada, and he's going to win at the Elimination Chamber. But I still believe we're going to see The Rock and Roman at night 2 of WrestleMania in a tribal match, just like you saw Jey Uso and Roman Reigns in. And I think The Rock wins it. I think that The Rock is going to take away this whole bloodline thing is going to be done after Mania. That's what I feel. I think he loses the title to Cody in night 1. And I think he loses to The Rock at night 2. If The Rock does not wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, then Roman will just wrestle the one night against Cody Rhodes, probably night 2, and night 1 will be main evented by the women. The women's match, or whoever wins the women's Rumble. So that's my predictions, but Roman Reigns over LA Knight, I think it's going to be a good one. LA Knight's going to show that he does belong in the championship picture with either Roman or with, Seth, Damian, Drew, whoever the champion is. He belongs in the title picture with somebody. But we'll see how he does against Roman this Saturday morning or afternoon, depending where you are, on Peacock. So make sure that you go and you do that. I'm going to take off. That's it for the show. We'll see how my predictions go for Crown Jewel. We'll talk about that next week. And, of course, my Week 9 NFL predictions. Make sure you come follow me on all the socials. It is down below in the section that shows the description of my show for the week. So make sure you add all that, because that's the best place to see when and where, if I do a surprise show or my shows are on, that's the best place to do it. So make sure you do that, and I will see everybody next week. I hope everybody has a great weekend this weekend. If you're in the Chicagoland area, the Hawks play this weekend, the Bulls play this weekend, and they start their tournament, their in-season tournament Friday night at the UC. The Bears play the Saints this weekend. That's going to be a good one. So make sure you all have a good, safe weekend. It is November now. We're in the cold months. So stay in, watch some sports. That way when I talk about stuff, we can keep up with it. But I'll have a whole new list of topics next week on the Robbie.G Sports Podcast, so make sure you come back for the next episode, next Thursday or Friday. I don't know. They're going to release mostly on Thursdays, but if I get busy, then I'll have to release it on Friday. So it'll be Thursday and Friday of every single week. But yeah, so I'm going to take off for now. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and like Charlie says, don't die. I'll see everybody next week. Have a great weekend. Peace.